So, in case you haven't been to Thailand before, or you have and you've made a complete fool of yourself and you don't want that to happen again, then don't worry, because here's 5 mistakes tourists make when visiting the land of smiles, so you can make sure to avoid them. Starting with... So, disrespecting the local culture and the royal family is a big no-no. You want to be respectful and careful because you won't be in your home country, remember? So you should be at least on your best behaviour either way. You are representing yourself as a foreigner, and especially in Thailand, there's locals that have had enough of us foreigners because of the bad apples. That's the unfortunate truth. So you should be behaving to help fix that stereotype. But as for common mistakes that tourists make out here, about the culture and the monarchy, are wearing shorts, tank tops inside temples. This is something I struggled with until I finally bought a t-shirt with sleeves, because they won't let you in if you're not dressed to the standard. So just make sure to cover shoulders and knees at temples and you'll be fine. Also, it's normal to remove your shoes before entering temples and homes, just as another tip. Another mistake is touching the monks. I mean, this goes without saying, keep your hands to yourself. And another mistake would be making jokes or negative comments about the Thai royal family. This is something to remember when speaking out loud and also online. You have to respect Thai laws when here, so don't just do anything silly and you'll be fine. And show respect to the image of the king and the Buddha, and you should be fine. The next mistakes tourists make out here are not understanding the scams, because now scams in Thailand do happen, and the most common I'd say would be the transportation scams. Bangkok especially is known for the classic tourist scam, but there are things you can do to avoid that, and most other scams. Mostly nowadays you use apps, is the biggest help because you don't have to give any money to your driver, they go straight to the company instead. And also the price can't change. I mean, common mistakes that tourists make out here surrounding the scams are accepting a tuk-tuk ride without agreeing to a price beforehand. That's not wise because the price will always change. Getting into taxis that refuse to use the meter. Make sure to insist on using the meter in taxis or just use the app like I said in Grab or Bolt. Another mistake is falling for the temple is closed today scam. Always check yourself because it's more than likely open. I've heard this one way too many times now. And the cheek on some of them will literally tell you this to your face, and then right over their shoulder you can see the entrance is open. Another common mistake is not taking pictures before renting a motorbike or a jet ski. So they can charge you extra when you return it, saying you've crashed and damaged it, so just make sure to take pictures and videos to cover yourself. And finally, another mistake on these scams is falling for fake websites, for Thai e-visas, or even the digital arrival card. So just avoid all these, you don't need to pay for a TDAC. And there's more scams out there, you just have to be smart about it. And just think things through. And if something sounds too good to be true, then you know the saying, it probably is. So move on. Now Thailand has 3 main seasons, hot, rainy, and slightly less hot. So you won't enjoy Thailand as much if you can't handle the daily 35+ degree heat. So be prepared. Or even do what I do and live by the sea, so at least you get a breeze when you walk up and down the beach road. That helps a lot. Or go into the mountains in the north. There's a few places you can go to help with the heat, but you can't escape from it completely by no means. Common mistakes about the heat in the season that tourists make are visiting in April without preparing for the extreme heat, because that's the turning point for the next season of the heat that will make you sweat within 30 seconds of leaving your condo. Another mistake would be booking island trip during monsoon season, expecting perfect beaches, blue skies, and the ability to travel back to the mainland whenever they want, because that's not an option in monsoon season. Sometimes it can be too dangerous for the boats and you will have to wait another day or two. So instead, to prepare yourself, expect 35 to even 40 degree heat in the hot season. Make sure to check regional monsoon patterns before you choosing your islands, and stay hydrated constantly and use plenty of sunscreen, especially if you're pale by nature like me, because if not, you'll end up looking like a lobster. Now on to the next mistakes that tourists make. Mostly surrounding Thailand and treating it like a cheap party destination only. And now I am talking a bit about my own people here in the British, because a few of you can be a bit rowdy. You need to chill out a bit. There's far too many headlines or news articles out here about stuff happening mostly at night, and in places like Phuket and Pattaya, that attracts the party tourism. But remember, Thailand is far more than just its nightlife. And some more common mistakes that tourists make are ignoring rural culture and history, as well as participating in unethical animal tourism, which, if you didn't know, that's how you can take pictures with animals that are not usually fully with it. I know most people don't even think about it at first, but there's a reason you can stand next to a fully trained assassin and be fine. So if your morals make you not feel quite right thinking about that, then just avoid that altogether. And another mistake is drinking excessively and disrespecting the locals. And that's honestly the worst one that the foreigners do in my opinion. Plenty of clips, far too many clips online. People just need to handle their drink really. So what you could do instead is choose ethical elephant sanctuaries, for example, that don't do any riding, and don't go to any of the other animal stuff, because you probably won't like what you see. And instead of just drinking and partying all the time, you could visit the quieter areas beyond the party hubs, maybe try to live like a local, At least that's what I tried to do, with my own Western dexterous twist, of course. And on to the final mistakes that tourists make regarding visa and the entry rule. Many travellers assume entry is automatic and always free, but nowadays that's no longer true. Depending on how many times you visited already in the last 12 months and many other things, will depend on even if you can get the visa exemption. Common mistakes are overstaying your visa exemptions. You can extend it once, but after that you must leave and re-enter. Another mistake is not carrying proof of onwards travel, because the immigration officers will more than likely ask for that. Another mistake is doing repeated visa runs, assuming it's always going to be allowed. Now this is limited to 2 per year, but that's not official because the immigration officer themselves has the final say. And airports like the main airport in Bangkok are a lot stricter on enforcing the entry rule. So instead, to avoid making all these mistakes, make sure to check your country's visa exemption rules before flying, keep your boarding passes and your ticket for your onwards travel, handy in case you're asked, and just make sure not to overstay because there are penalties, fines, and the possibility of being blacklisted. So it's not really worth the risk, really. Just behave and stick within the rules. And that's it for the main or top 5 mistakes that tourists make out here in Thailand, I guess you could say. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you think you can handle the heat and living out here in Thailand, then check out my Move to Thailand guide linked in the description below. It covers everything you need to know before you make the move to Thailand, if that's the life you fancy anyway. But yeah, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.